Crypto Banter, this is Crypto Banter, this is Crypto Banter. Crypto Banter for you, this is Crypto Banter, this is Crypto Banter, this is Crypto Banter. Crypto Banter for you, smash those likes. Smash those likes. Crypto Banter for you, smash those likes. Smash those likes. Crypto Banter for you, smash those likes. Smash those likes. Crypto Banter for you, for you, for you.
And it looks like another bloody day on the Bitcoin markets. But this time, it's not all about crypto. This time, it's actually because the stock markets, there's fear in the stock markets. And as you can see, the stock market, the Dow Jones Industrial Futures Options, the US 30, down 2%. Today, we're going to be talking about the risk that this stock market may bring crypto much lower. And we'll also be looking at how much lower the stock market could go. So big, big, big show. Then at the end of the show, we're going to be talking about how you can still make money in this crypto bear market. I know it sounds crazy, but you can actually make a lot of money playing these play-to-win games like Axie Infinity. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Welcome back, guys. I'm Crypto Man Run. I'm here every single day, 10 a.m. EST. And I know the sniper is running around here. I mean, I can see him. I can see him running around here. So he is back. He is feeling better. I think he may join the stream. I think he may at some point join the stream. He wants to talk a little bit about charts and whatever else. I was hoping Freddie could join the stream for a little bit. The only thing is that Fred is too busy buying JPEGs. So Fred thinks that he's buying expensive NFTs. Freddie, get on the stream now, bro. Freddie, get on the stream. Freddie. You're muted, Freddie. You need to get on the stream so we can hear you. So tell everyone what you've been doing all weekend.
So what I've been doing all weekend is I've been shopping for some NFTs. I'm basically taking a bit of a personal deep dive into the NFT game. And I've been completely consumed by OpenSea. I've fallen in love with my cool cat, as you can see. It's no longer Fred's head. I'm a cool cat now. And yeah, I'm a committed community member to the cool cat community. So JPEGs for life. I love them.
Freddie, it sounds to me like you're buying expensive JPEGs, man.
Bro, I feel like I might have spent a little bit too much. Probably bought it at the wrong time, but I think I'll make my money back sooner or later. Zoom out.
Oh goodness. Freddie's buying expensive NFTs. I do see that we have Sheldon back. Sheldon, welcome back, my friend. Can you hear us?
Yo, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
My audio is good. Yeah, there we go. What's up?
What's up? You look good, man. You look like you're back.
We're back in the studios. We're feeling good. I'm
excited, and how you feeling good, but you're going to start streaming again on Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday, definitely.
Okay, so Sheldon's show back on Wednesday. Sheldon, what do you make of this mess that's going on right now between the Bitcoin charts and the stock markets and all those good things?
The only thing that's sort of scary is that dominance going up. So I'm not sure how far down these alts are going to go. The problem is Bitcoin drops the low that we made previously. You know, it can go to the 25 level. If that dominance goes up, you know what I mean? That's $1,200, $1,400 for Ethereum. So it's quite scary to see what's happening right now.
Oh, okay. So yeah, people are getting a little bit nervous out there. That's what we're going to be talking about today. I may bring you onto the stream if you can find a cable and we can do some charts, but you'll let me know.
Cool, buddy. Working.
Cool. So welcome back. If you're a returning visitor, welcome. If you're a new visitor to our channel, welcome to CryptoBanter.com. This is the place where you get fundamentals and technicals in one place. We're here every single day, 6 a.m. EST, and then again at 10 a.m. EST, bringing you technicals, bringing you fundamentals, and everything you need to know about the market. So if you're new, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell button, let's get those bell notifications going so that you know when we're coming to you. And if you have been here for a while, we'll unsubscribe, resubscribe, and hit the bell button so that you know when we're coming to you. A few things. So one is we are starting to start the show on time. So we used to start at 10 past. We moved it today to 5 past. And I think from tomorrow, we're going to start on time. So 10 a.m. EST, we're going to start live on time. And that's because we're starting to introduce more shows. And we need, in order to introduce more shows, we need all the shows to end and start and end when they're supposed to start and end. Crypto School, still scheduled for 1 August. The first module of Crypto School is the beginner's module of Crypto School. It's for people who don't know what Bitcoin is, don't know what Ethereum is, don't know what an exchange is, how to use a wallet. They don't know about security and private keys and public keys. That's the first part of Crypto School. The second part of Crypto School starts 2 weeks later, and that's what we call Sniper School. That's about the right investment and the right shot. So you are going to see those on Twitter. You are going to see those in Telegram application forms. So if you do want to apply or know of anyone who needs to apply, we are taking the first 100 people in. You have to be a subscriber to our channel. You have to be a subscriber to our Twitter, my Twitter, CryptoManRand, Sheldon _Sniper, Fred, who's now a cat on Twitter. He's now a cat. He's now a cool cat on Twitter. Fred _head, but also a cool cat on Twitter. So you have to be on all our social media platforms. That is all I've got to talk to you about. I think today what we're going to be talking to you guys about is the markets and why the stock markets look like that and why Bitcoin looks like that. It's a scary, scary, scary picture because, if the stock markets continue to go down, then there's no way that Bitcoin can avoid the crash. We're now at the mercy of the stock markets. And so not only do we have the stock market, the Bitcoin going down because of the grayscale's overhang, but now we have the stock markets going down. And for as long as the stock markets are going down, people are going to be risk off. People are going to be taking their money out of risky assets. And probably one of the big risky assets is going to be crypto. And when people get margin called because they took leverage on stocks, and believe me, they did take leverage on stocks, the stock market is as leveraged as the crypto markets were. In fact, if you look at what Lynn Alden says, this is quite an interesting stat. She says, US households now have record high exposure to stocks. And you can see that in the charts, that they have more exposure than they had in the 2000s. And again, just before the 2008 bubble, US households have more exposure to stocks. And the reason why that's happening is because the US government is printing so much more money. People are putting their money into anything to protect themselves from this inflation. They're putting themselves into everything. They're putting themselves into gold, into silver, into bonds, into everything, just to get out of cash. And as a result, what you've got is you've got the highest level of stock ownership in a long, long, long time. Now, should we be worried? Should we be worried that the stock market is going to correct even further? Well, we've been calling a stock market correction for a long time. If you listen to our show on Friday, you would have heard Gareth and you would have heard Richard Hart all calling for a stock market correction. I think just about anyone who's anyone is calling for a stock market correction. And the reality is that you can't have a stock market that only goes up. I mean, if you look at the US stock market, let's quickly zoom back. Let's go into a daily chart and let's go back in time. You have a stock market for the biggest economy in the world, or one of the biggest economies in the world, which has doubled since March last year. Literally, the stock market has doubled since March last year. If you take the 23rd of March, 2020, which is the lowest day of the COVID collapse, and that was when people were talking about lockdowns for the first time and people staying at home. And you look at where the low was on that day. This is the day that they announced that there's going to be helicopter money drops or stimulus checks. You can see that the Dow Jones was at about 18,176. And if you look at the market today, just 18 months later, or whatever the number is, 15 months later, the Dow Jones has almost doubled. And it's been a relative straight line. The biggest correction that we got in the Dow Jones was from 28.9 all the way down to 26.2, which is not even 10% or just over 10. And that lasted a couple of days. You're talking about it lasted from top all the way down to bottom, lasted a week. And then it took just under a week to recover and for the market to keep firing on all cylinders and to hit back to all-time highs. So you've got the stock market going up in pretty much a straight line. And markets can't go up in a straight line forever. It's just like the crypto markets. People who get into markets because they think that markets are going to go up in a straight line need to be flushed out the system. It's exactly what happened in crypto. People that came to crypto because they thought that the markets were going to continue to go up and up and up and up and up forever. Well, they were kicked out. They were flashed out in one of these big unleveragings. Same thing's happening on the stock market. For too long, people thought that stocks could only go up. And now we're getting a reality check. And even if you look at people like Mike Novogratz has a lot of experience in stock markets, a lot of experience in hedge fund trading. And he says, markets are ugly this morning. Crypto heavy, stocks heavy, rates bid, summer plus delta variant. So summer delta variant, plus China is slowing, plus everyone had gotten really long. People are holding a lot of stock market, a lot of shares. Rates might have one more surge lower. If this is a correction in stocks, it's just starting. It feels bad because we're only 3% from the all-time high. And that's exactly it. We are only 3% from the all-time high. But the sentiment doesn't look very good, doesn't sound very good. Let's listen to what Jim Cramer had to say this morning on CNBC. Freddie, this is where you press the button.
In terms of long-term investors, Jim, who are thinking a year out, do you look through the Delta variant at this point? Do you
yes,
not? I mean, we've been looking through a lot of stuff, and so the question is, you look through it.
You look through it. All these athletes that are testing, they're obviously asymptomatic, or else they wouldn't be just crushing it right now. So I think that look, and I think also, by the way, the J&J, Dr. Topol says that's the one to be careful of, not to disparage J&J, particularly with this talc thing that they've got going. But I just think that where we are is there's just so much fear in the market. And I just think that the asymptomatic is not as dangerous. The deaths are not going up that much. So I'm not buying that this is the end of the bull market. I'm saying that most of the companies that are involved with technology have been rolling over for days, maybe even weeks. And suddenly everyone's discovered that. I'm looking at things like Cleveland Cliffs. They're selling at 1.8 times earnings. Interesting.
What about a Facebook?
It doesn't feel to me, I mean, Jim Cramer is saying that he doesn't believe that this is the top and we're entering a bear market. Again, it doesn't feel to me like we're at the top and entering a long-term bear market. If you think about the dynamics in the US today, the United States has printed all this extra money. People have taken this money and invested it in the stock market. The United States can't afford for the stock market to crash because that's the only thing that has kept people above water at the moment. If the stock markets crash, then the US has a serious problem because they have no other tools. You have an economy which is disconnected from the stock market completely. The economy is at an all-time low, or certainly at a low for recent times, and the stock market's at all-time highs. And it's all because of the money printing. And the reality is that the US is going to keep printing money until there is stability. Chairman Powell of the Fed has said that. He said as much. So I think markets need to have a correction. I think it's unhealthy for markets to just go up. I don't think that you can have a market that just goes up and up and up and in a straight line. And naturally, what you're going to get is you're going to get corrections. As I said, we've had the biggest correction that we've had was over here, which was a slightly more than 10% correction, and it recovered in 4 days. And so I think that this is just another one of those corrections, and that the market is being a little bit skittish, a bit nervous, because people, fund managers and others have said they are waiting for a correction. They are uncomfortable that markets are only going up. And I think there's a lot of time on the side, a lot of money on the sidelines waiting to enter the US market. There are a lot of fund managers that have exited equities and said, look, we're waiting for a correction. If you listen to Gareth Soloway, who was on the show on Friday, he said the same thing. And so for as long as that's the case, I don't think that this is the big market correction. And at the same time, yeah, I don't think this is a big market correction. But with Bitcoin, we have another force in the market. We have another force in the market. And the reality is, if you look at Bitcoin, let's look at Bitcoin. You got Bitcoin coming down even before the stock market started to correct this morning. You had Bitcoin coming down. And it looks like on Twitter, there's two schools of thought. You've got those that have resolved that Bitcoin is going down to 20,000. And people like Richard Hart or Gareth Soloway, who said he's going to be buying at 20,000. Richard Hart, who says Bitcoin is going down to 10,000. So you got those people that have resolved that Bitcoin is going down to 20,000. And then you got those that are still looking for bullish patterns. Those that are looking at the on-chain data and trying to decipher why the on-chain data is still bullish. And I think a great example of this is if you look at Willy Woo. Willy Woo keeps analyzing the data and keeps looking for reasons to tell us why the market is bullish. But in reality, the number go down. The price of Bitcoin is going down. And this time, Willy Woo says weekly net flows to, let's look at what he says. He says that weekly net flows to smallholders. It's retail that drive Bitcoin bull markets. When they stop buying, that's a bear market. They haven't stopped buying. In the last 30 days, whales have sold 4,000 BTC, plebs have bought 31,000 BTC. And he takes this from the on-chain data, which shows that whales are starting to sell and the small accounts are starting to buy. So he's somehow seeing that this is a bull market driven by retail, right? That's how he's looking at this whole thing. He says whales only drive short-term market, which is a meme that most fixate on. In the macro timescale, I refer to the whales, dolphins, and sharks to start the bull market. Plebs drive the middle and end of the bull market. And I think what Willie is saying is that it's the plebs, it's the small accounts which are driving the bull market, and they're still buying. And so we should be in a raging bull market. But what I'm trying to show you is that there are conflicting views. If you look for negative threads, you'll find negative threads on Twitter that will tell you why Bitcoin is going down to 20,000. If you look for positive threads, you'll find things like Willy Woo. Plan B, I wanted to show you this. Plan B, let's quickly go to Plan B's account. Plan B is the founder of the stock to flow model. He's the guy that brought it into crypto. And hold on, let's actually quickly look for his account. Plan B. He is now starting to question his model very, very, very seriously. He's looking at the stock to flow model and he's looking at the divergence that Bitcoin has from the stock to flow model. And he's saying, he's looking at this model and he's going, bounce or break? And by that he means, is the model broken? Can we, for now, after 10 years of this model actually being accurate, can this be the reason why, can this be the time where the stock to flow model actually gets invalidated? Is this the market condition where the stock to flow gets validated? And we did see big inflows onto exchanges over the weekend. Fred, do you have that chart of the big inflow onto the exchanges this weekend? Let's see if Freddie's going to find it first. But there was a massive, massive, massive inflow of Bitcoin onto exchanges. Over 30,000 Bitcoin were sent onto exchanges, and a lot of it went onto Coinbase. Now, we know that 13,000 of those were a wallet-to-wallet transfer on Coinbase, which doesn't really count. But nonetheless, you can see that there is a massive inflow of coins onto exchanges. So that's bearish. There's no other way to look at it. That's a bearish sign. What I'm trying to show you guys is that if you look for the bullish sentiment, you'll find the bullish sentiment. If you look for the bearish sentiment, you'll find the bearish sentiment. There are great bullish and bearish sentiments for both Bitcoin and for ETH. For ETH, we know there's EIP 1559 being implemented in August, which means that ETH will become deflationary and ETH will be burnt. We know that NFTs and NFT games are taking off on ETH like never, ever, ever before. We heard today news about a Grayscale DeFi fund. Did you see that? So Grayscale is now launching a DeFi fund, which means that they're going to be buying not only ETH, but also a lot of ETH-related assets. Look at what this fund is holding. Uniswap, Aave, Compound, Curve, MakerDAO, SushiSwap, Synthetics, UN Finance, UMA Protocol, and Bancor token. Those are all part of the Grayscale DeFi fund. Now, what that means is that institutions are now going to be given the opportunity, accredited investors and institutions are going to be given the opportunity to invest in DeFi tokens. And this is the first DeFi tokens that they're talking about. Now, Grayscale wouldn't have created this product if there wasn't a demand. So the base case for ETH is very strong. Let's listen to what Michael Sonnenschein said today on CNBC.
Well, I think what we've certainly seen over the years is this ecosystem to, continue to get challenged. The recent ban on mining in China we view as a positive thing. We've seen the mining distribution fan out to other parts of the world, including here in the US. And investors in this asset class are really not focused on the short term or any short-term movements in price. These are really investors looking at their allocations over the medium to longer term. And so any volatility or even dampening of volatility is not something that anyone is fazed by.
It might be focused if it broke under 30 and had one of those pullbacks or corrections that we've seen in other years might get a little bit more focused. But there are people that just stack. That's for sure. That no matter what happens, they're going to keep stacking. What about an ETF? That there's an article today about some of Gensler's comments, and that we're as far away from an ETF as we were 5 years ago, even though it's always supposed to be imminent, because of the fears that that regulators have that they're not protecting investors adequately yet in digital assets.
Well, a Bitcoin ETF here in the US, Joe, is really a matter of when, not a matter of if. I don't know if you kind of saw this last week. We announced our partnership with BNY Mellon, and we are, again, 100% committed to converting our flagship product, GBTC, into an ETF when regulatory approvals are ready for that type of product. I think from our seat, in our view of the world, we're really looking for, a couple of different points of maturation in the underlying market. And that's really kind of the final stages of what we think regulators need to approve those types of.
So question is, what's really going on? So we know that there are threads that are calling the market up. There are threads that are calling the market down. There is FUD happening in the market. I read this article here today around whether the markets are actually being manipulated. And what it says here, it says hedged by JP Morgan, the top 5. The question here is whether these banks getting into crypto is actually a good thing or a bad thing. And what it says here is, it says, headed by JP Morgan Chase, the top 5 banks have now fully engaged the crypto markets. Altogether, they have access to $10 trillion worth of assets. In contrast to the 2 cryptocurrencies, which are $600 billion and $224 billion. So tiny in the big scheme of things. The fact that they're now coming into crypto could mean that they're going to come into crypto and actually start manipulating the markets. If you think about this, Bank of America had already calculated that it would take a mere $93 million to move the Bitcoin price by 1%. Small cap coins would be even more susceptible. They're in fact susceptible to Elon Musk tweets alone. Given the history of US banks, such manipulation would amount to the cost of doing business. In 2020, they paid $11.1 billion in fines alone. That year, JP Morgan had to pay $920 million for market manipulation, while Bank of America is the reigning champion of fines. So with these banks coming into crypto, could they be manipulating the market? And when we see a green candle on coins moving to exchanges, just like the one that we saw right here, Freddie, will you call up that green candle? Is that market manipulation? Is that the banks manipulating the market by manipulating the Glassnode data? Is that the banks putting coins onto exchanges to scare everybody to get the markets up? That could be another theory. But the reality is that if we zoom out in this market and we ask, why is this market collapsing? There are only 2 real reasons why this market is coming down. The first reason is the market isn't coming down. The first reason is that we have lost perspective. We think the market is coming down, but that's because we're looking at a very short time frame. And if you look at the market specifically around Bitcoin, let's call Bitcoin, if there was someone who went into a coma in January 2020 and woke up now and saw Bitcoin at $32,000, what would he say? He would be super thankful. He would go, wow, Bitcoin's at 32,000. That's unbelievable. Because if you went into a coma let's have a look here. If you went into a coma in Jan 2020, the Bitcoin price was, Jan 2020. Yeah, let's have a look at Jan 2020. Jan 2021, let's take a year. Okay. The price of Bitcoin was $23,000. And believe me that no one thought that we were going anywhere near $35,000. But then we went up too quickly. And now we're coming down to something that's more realistic. And the same thing's happening on the stock markets. The stock markets went up too high, too quickly. And now we're coming down to something that's more realistic. If you think about that same guy that was in a coma and he got into the coma in, let's not say at the bottom of COVID, but let's say at the beginning of the year. So let's look at, January 2020. Someone that looked at the markets in January 2020 at 28,000 on the Dow and saw 34,000 on the Dow just a year and a half later would say, this is the best day ever. This is the best thing that ever happened. The reality is that as investors, We've lost perspective. We expect markets to go up, and we expect markets to go up only, and we expect markets to go up too quickly. And anything that goes up too quickly is going to come down, and it's going to come down to what they call equilibrium. In the process of coming down to equilibrium, it will go up, it will overshoot the equilibrium, and then it will normalize again. And that's the process that we're going through now. That's the one reason why markets are coming down, because we've lost perspective, and markets cannot just continue to go up and go up quickly. Again, let's look at Bitcoin. If you bought Bitcoin just a year and a half ago, let's look at what your return would be. If you bought Bitcoin in January 2020, okay, so that's a year and a half ago, January 2020. Here it is. January 2020, you would have paid $6,911 for Bitcoin, which means that you're still 6x up on your money or 5x up on your money today after the correction. The market is here to give everyone a fair return, and you cannot look at the market on a very small time frame. You got to look at it and zoom out and say, if you were here just a year ago, let's look at exactly 1 year ago. 1 year ago, 20th of July, let's go to 20th of July last year, Bitcoin was at $9,000. Anyone that would have bought Bitcoin a year ago, 3x on your returns, 3x returns on your investment. You need to zoom out, guys. It's a patience game. Anyone that holds Bitcoin and crypto over the years has been rewarded. But the thing is that you have to hold Bitcoin and crypto, and you have to have conviction. You can't come in over here and then expect to make money up to here and to sell the top, because you'll never, ever, ever be able to sell the top. And the same is true if I zoom in to what happened a year ago on the markets. There's no way that you would have called it right in the short term. There were too many tops and bottoms and tops and bottoms. If you have conviction and you have patience and you believe in what you're buying and you hold the assets for a long period of time and you zoom out, then this is what it's going to look like. We do have the grayscale overhang. We do have the GBTC. We have the 41,000 BTC worth of GBTC shares on the market. And until those shares dry up, until the GBTC premium disappears, we're not going to get a Bitcoin recovery, because the reality is that you can buy Bitcoin at a discount to net asset value. And we know that these shares were bought 6 months ago. Let's quickly go back to 6 months ago. Freddie, did we have a chart? There we go. If you look at when these people bought their GBTC, they bought their GBTC around here. The price was 36,380, or 36,000. We know that these guys are going to wait for 36,000, and so they're going to create a barrier here, a resistance level here, because if they sell now, they're going to be at a loss. And these buyers of GBTC don't want to sell at a loss, so they're not dumping their shares today unless they have to. And they're going to try and wait for GBTC to go back up towards 36,000 to minimize their losses. And so we can expect huge resistance, up to 41,000 Bitcoin worth of resistance at 36,000. And only when we break that 36,000 level, then we can go back into a bull market. So for now, what is the strategy? The strategy is that you have to be patient, that you have to have conviction in what you hold. It's what I said on my Twitter a while back, and I think I'm going to try and get back to my Twitter just to show you this. So it's my pinned tweet, and it says, the strategy, and it was 26th of June, get out of any tokens that won't survive a bear cycle. Get into quality. Maximize your staking rewards on tokens that can be staked, so you have more tokens into the recovery. Maximize your yield on Bitcoin, ETH, USD, and anywhere else that you can maximize yield. Set your buy levels on the way down and ladder in your buys on the way down. And then switch off your trading view, switch off your CoinGecko, and keep building. Keep building stuff in crypto, because the market is going to recover. It always does. And when the market does recover, it looks like this. That's what happens when the market recovers. These huge crashes, when they happen, disappear. And if you have conviction in this market that this market is going to continue to go up, just follow the formula. Follow the formula. It's such a simple formula. Get out of your shitcoins. Any token that won't survive a bear market, get out of it. Maximize your staking rewards. Maximize your yields in BTC. Keep buying on the way down, and keep building. Guys, the stock market dump can carry on for a while. The stock market has a long way to fall. I don't think it's going to, but the stock market has a long way to fall. It's gone up 80% since last year, March. It can come down quite a lot. We could have another couple of days where this market goes down 10%. And if that happens, Bitcoin is going down. Hold on tight. Keep buying on the way down, and don't get itchy fingers to trade and to jump in and out of things. If you do, you're going to realize losses. The only time I'd realize losses is if you're holding shit. If you're holding shit, take your losses now, today, and buy good stuff. And you can buy good stuff really cheap. I mean, if you look at CoinGecko, it looks like a Black Friday special. I mean, you've got, I saw earlier, you got DOT at 11.52. You've got Uniswap at 15.57. You've got Rune at 3.50. Solana at 24.42. These things are on sale. But you need to have patience. You need to buy, you need to have conviction, and you need to have a lot of patience. And lucky for us, in this market, not everything is going down. And if you're in tune with the trends or the themes, there are actually big opportunities for you to make money. And one of those big opportunities is, of course, NFT gaming. We spoke about this last week. We did a whole program on NFT gaming last week. And at the time, I think we spoke about Fairyland, we spoke about Axie Infinity. And you can see that even though these guys are correcting, net, there's a massive bull market in these NFT gaming play-to-earn games, specifically NFT gaming and specifically play-to-earn games. You can see Axie Infinity from $5 on the 21st of June is still trading at $15, still 200% return, even though it has come down a little bit. Let's look at Fairyland. We spoke about Fairyland last week on the show. It's a small cap, very, very, very risky one, but it's actually up to date. It hasn't come down in the last week. So there is this bull market happening in this play-to-earn NFT gaming, and it's not. You can make money not only in the token, but there are many, many, many ways to make money playing Axie Infinity and other similar games. So what I thought we'd do, in anticipation of a new program which we're going to launch. We're launching a new program which is called In the Game. And In the Game shows you how to make money inside games. So buying NFTs, playing games, etc., etc. I thought what I would do is bring on Bryce. Bryce, welcome, my man.
Thank you so much for having me, Rand. How are you doing?
Good, buddy. Buddy, listen, you got an amazing, amazing, amazing story. You went from being minus $30,000 in debt, $30,000 in debt, to now being an in-game millionaire.
Yeah, it's a pretty insane kind of surreal story to talk about. But first, I want to say thank you for having me on Crypto Banter. This is super dope. Your audience is amazing. And being able to kind of talk about Axie Infinity and my journey and hoping that it helps someone else's is something that I'm extremely excited about. But to kind of go into it, it's insane because, I look back at April of this past year, and I was, $30K in student loan debt. I just started a new software dev job, and it was great. It's paying, $150K a year. So I'm thinking, all right, we can pay off some of this debt, traditional finance crap. And somehow, some way, I found this game on Karush AK's Market Meditations podcast, and Andrew Steinwald was talking about it. Axie Infinity, the name just stuck. And I decided to just dive headfirst in, learn a bit more about the game, see what was going on. I realized it was pretty expensive, dumped a lot of my savings into it, and realized that, I needed to learn a bit more. I needed to go a bit deeper. But it ended up being a moment where I realized that there was an extremely high market opportunity to not only make money, but to help other people in developing nations make money as well and change their own lives. And it's happening every single day.
So I guess that's what I wanted to show our viewers here today. I wanted to show the viewers that there are many more ways to make money on Axie Infinity other than just buying the Axie tokens. So the Smooth Life Potion token or the actual Axie token. There are many, many, many ways to make money. And the reason why I think it's so important that people understand how to make money now is because I think that this is the beginning of a massive, massive, massive trend. And Axie is just the proof of concept. It's the first one. Yeah. It's the one that started. But I think that if people learn how to make this money now, then these games are just going to be plug and plays. What do you think?
No, I totally agree. I think right now Axie Infinity is the gold standard for NFT gaming, but this whole concept of play to earn and tokenomics that, kind of bridge the gap between real world infrastructure and the metaverse is going to be something that we see for a very long time. And if you don't know anything about kind of this field, it would be something that you could just gloss over and miss. And then you look up in a couple of months and you're like, oh, well, all of my actual trading stuff hasn't really performed the way I wanted it to. But maybe if I would have put in a little bit more sweat and energy in some other places, or even if you knew about them, you'd realize there are insane ways to make money in the market, even if you're not trading on a daily basis.
Okay, so let's talk about Axie Infinity. For those who are new, for those who've been living under a rock, Axie Infinity is a play-to-earn game. Tell me about the game. Tell me how it works. And if you want to share your screen, there's a share screen button at the bottom. Share your screen, show us what you want to show us. But I really want our viewers to understand this game.
Totally. I will share my screen. Just give me 1 second.
Guys, if you are watching, smash the like button. Let's get more people watching this so that they can learn how to play Axie and how to make money on Axie.
Cool. So my screen is now shared. I want to talk about a couple of the different ways that you can make money in Axie Infinity and give you the full kind of scope on what I did when I got into Axie Infinity. The first thing to talk about is, guys, when I started Axie Infinity back in April, I wasn't a whale. I didn't have any ton of money. To be honest, I had never even owned a MetaMask wallet, bought any NFT, or even used a decentralized anything. I was just a regular, ordinary guy coming into the space and realizing that, oh, this is a cool game. And not only is it cool because you can make money, but I'm also learning about so much DeFi and crypto infrastructure, unknowingly, just from interacting with these different protocols that involve using the game. Now, to get into the kind of the nitty gritty on how I make Axie Infinity money, the first thing to kind of take into account is there is this play to earn aspect in Axie Infinity. And by play to earn, that means if you play the game, you battle your Axies, kind of similar to Pokemon. It's Pokemon inspired. But as you're battling your Axies in the arena, in the environment, the story mode types of the game, you actually earn cryptocurrency in the form of Smooth Love Potion that you can, swap into ETH, you can swap into USDC, you can swap into pretty much anything. And it is, it serves the purpose of, money. And it's within this Axie Infinity ecosystem. So to kind of talk about the different ways you can make money, I think the first and most important way would be to talk about the play to earn. Give me 1 second. I'd love to show you guys some of the actual in-game gameplay of what the game looks like.
Can we play? Can we play today? I know the servers went down. I mean, can we play Axie Infinity and show people how to play Axie Infinity? While you're looking, guys, this Smooth Love Potion, SLP, is now trading at 25 cents per SLP. That's the in-game token that you earn for doing certain things on Axie. If I'm not mistaken, the top was about 40 cents. So SLP traded about 40 cents,
yes,
more or less. That was the top for SLP. But you earn SLP for doing certain things, and you can sell them on the open market for 20 cents or 25 cents.
You're absolutely right.
Okay, so what are we looking at on your screen? It looks so cool.
Awesome. So if you guys can see my screen, I'm hoping that it allows us to get into the game. The servers are kind of updating and, they're making as much effort as they can to scale the game with so many hundreds of thousands of new users playing. But this is the home screen from the actual in-game battling system. As you can see, these cuddly, cute little pets that you see on the screen are called Axies. And I have a pretty solid team here. So let's see if we can jump into some arena and I can give you a sense of how we actually earn SLP. But it looks like we're going through a slight freeze. So it might be difficult to kind of get one of these games in, but I am going to try my very best to see if we can get something locked in. And even if we can't play in the arena, we should be able to play potentially the environment mode. I'm hoping that Axie will let us get into a game today, but I can't really promise it too much. We do also have some video gameplay if that doesn't work.
So ironically, the reason why they call it Smooth Love Potion is because in order to breed the Axies, which is how you create more Axies, you need Smooth Love Potion. So if you want to, it's kind of like real life, when you need Smooth Love Potion to create new Axies.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to play live, Ren. So it seems like the servers aren't working in our favor today. I'll give it one more go.
One more try. Axie are upgrading their servers, and because they've had too many people, just too many people trying to play the game.
Let's see. Let's see if we can hop into one really quick. Come on. Just give us one opportunity. Uh-oh. Yeah. It seems like they aren't gonna work with us today. The server gods are not in our favor, but nevertheless, we do have some video content that I could possibly display and kind of talk you through some of my own gameplay. Rand, if you think that would be great.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
Cool. Give me 1 second to just get that pulled up.
So you play the game, you earn SLP, you earn smooth love potion. You then take the smooth love potion and then and your existing Axies, and you breed them using the existing Axies to create more Axies, right?
Exactly. And that's kind of the idea behind why the tokenomics work so well, because every time, you're earning smooth love potion, that's kind of the proof of work concept behind the token. But then when you burn it, it's leaving circulation forever, and you're minting a new Axie in the form of an NFT that you can, then buy, or you can sell it. Someone else can buy it. You can trade it. You can put it on scholarshiping. And I can also talk about scholarshiping in the future, but I think I do have some gameplay pulled up. And we can kind of get into looking at what Axie looks like in true practice. So, guys, if you guys can see my screen here, this was a video that I've recently released, and I am actually in an Axie Infinity battle, testing out the team that you saw on the screen. I want to show you guys some gameplay, kind of talk you through this battling scenario. But in general, Axie Infinity is a card turn-based battling game where you pretty much would pick cards, and based on the different attributes on your Axie, they all have different cards. So like, for example, these two blades that you see at the top right here, these two things kind of sticking up, that is the actual dual blade or sinister strike card. Now, if we go to the midfield, you see this purple thing on the head. That is a bird card called the headshot or the kestrel. And all of these different cards have different abilities. They do different things. And at the end of the day, they allow you to kind of get and build different types of meta teams.
Okay. So how many Axies play in one game? I mean, if I want to play an Axie game now, how many players are playing in one game?
Totally. So it's going to be, Rand, let's look at it as if it's me versus you. It could be kind of considered as a tennis match. It's a 1v1 against one other person in the arena. And normally you field a team of 3 Axies. You have your frontline Axie, you have your midfielder, and then your backliner who serves the purpose of your closer. That's going to be the guy who you want to finish the game off for you in most instances. But yeah. You field a team of 3 Axies, and we can actually jump into some of the gameplay. But I want to see, Rand, do you have any thoughts before we get into it?
Let's watch the game. I think that's the best part.
Cool. So we're going to get it all started. And this is just me talking for a bit and kind of going through some of the cards. But you can actually click on each individual Axie in the battle, and you can get a good sense of the cards that the other team is running. Like, for example, I'm just kind of checking out my opponent's cards, building up some strategy in terms of how I want to approach the game and how I want to play my cards.
So let's look at their cards and maybe just talk us through what you'd be looking for here. What's scary, what's good, and how would you fight that?
Totally. So to kind of give you a sense of that, the first thing that I look at is kind of the team comp. And the crazy thing behind this is just like in Pokemon where you have class advantages, like, for example, a fire type Pokemon would be super effective against a grass type. The same rule applies in Axie Infinity. So beast Axies, or, this beautiful little brown thing here, or tan thing, is super effective against a reptile Axie, which is the purple thing. You can tell that, these different class types by the actual tag here. This little tag that goes beside the health bar is going to provide you with a sense of what that Axie is. So right here, we have a reptile Axie, we have a dusk Axie, we have a plant Axie, and in the back, we have a beast Axie. So ideally, when I jump into the cards here, guys, the first things that I'm thinking of is, okay, I see a really weird combination because this reptile Axie actually has 4 beast cards. So this is kind of out of the ordinary. But knowing that I have a pretty solid class advantage, I'm not too worried about the reptile. And this is a pretty good matchup. Kind of checking out the backliner as well. We go in and we look and we see, okay, he has a bunch of reptile cards. So he isn't having the best matchup for my team based on the cards that I'm able to provide in a sense. And it really gives me a good kind of advantage in knowing what my opponent's going to be doing as we jump into the earlier rounds into this game.
Okay, so let's see. I mean, what happened in this game?
Totally. So let's hop into it. Round number one, I think I actually decided to pass. And the reason behind that is I don't really like the set of cards that I pulled. You know, I can't really chain together any good combinations. And that's the cool thing, Rand. Like, there are so many embedded combinations you can chain together with different Axies. And from the surface, you kind of wouldn't know this until you dive deeper into the game. But going into round number two, I'm actually going to attack here and get a good amount of damage off, I believe. And so I can skip forward just a tad bit. As you can see, I'm going to play a couple of cards and try to see if I can wreak some havoc here. And I think my opponent is also either going to attack or save up as well. So we're going to probably end our turn here. Yeah, he goes in a bunch. And the beauty in it is I've run a poison card. So every time he attacks me now, his Axie is just picking up poison damage, as you can see. And you know, he attacks with 6 different Axies. So or 6 different attacks, which means I'm going to be able to gain a ton of advantage going into the later rounds. And as you can see here, now I start to deal the damage back. And the order of your cards actually attacking, it kind of focuses on the faster Axie. So as you can see, you know, we do a ton of damage here. But if we stop the video, his Axies at the top of the screen attack first because they are, you know, they have a speed advantage. So their inherent trait is faster. Their speed trait is faster than my Axies.
Man, my mind is blown. So this is like this is not a kid's game. I mean, you can't let your kids play this game. This is a game of strategy between smart people. This is almost like chess using Pokemon cards.
Yeah, so a lot of people, you know, categorize it as very similar to, like, you know, a Hearthstone or, you know, some other turn-based card games. I know there are some younger people that play, but it's definitely a learning curve when you get into the game. I think I got my ass handed to me a fair amount when I got started, and now I'm, like, you know, having fun and being able to navigate this ecosystem. But going into this round, Rand, we're pretty much in a solid situation. You know, he has so much poison across all of his Axies, and we haven't really even used the pure damage that is associated with my build. So this round, you're going to see.
Show me the part where you fuck him up.
Yeah, this is the part where we fuck them up, and you're going to see the true damage come in, as I like to dub this Axie in the back, the Bryce Blade Beast. You're going to see what we can do in action as we skip forward here and kind of get this round going. And as you can see, I'm going to play a pretty good host of cards here, and I'm going to actually go for a potential double kill, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And you know, a couple memes on the screen as well, but we're going to play a fair amount of cards. He doesn't really have much to play, so this is going to be pretty much a GG well played, a ton of damage. But look at this beast. Oh my God, that is just awful. That is just awful to have to deal with, huh? Going, gone.
Okay, so now you've killed his Axies. Are these Axies dead, or are these Axies still good to play the next game?
Oh yeah, you know, it's just like Pokemon. So they faint, and you know, they'll be back to play the next game. You know, take them to Nurse Joy or something, let them heal up a bit. But this game was pretty much a GG well played. I think this guy quit right after that round, knowing that, you know, it was pretty much over. But yeah, we can actually see the ending culminate here. I was kind of talking through some strategy if he decided to keep playing into this, and I think I do play into this round. So to kind of stop it here, I want to give you some more higher level knowledge about the game. This cute bunny or Terra Chomp card right here is connected to the mouth on this beast Axie. And this Axie is one of one in the world. I own the only one with this set characteristics of traits, which makes it, you know, extremely valuable, but also extremely good because there's not many different game plans you can use to satisfy for it in the arena. So, you know, this cute bunny card here makes your enemy miss its first 2 attacks if you plant it with another bug-based card. So if we take this red card over here and we play it with this red card over here, you're going to watch our opponent here. He's going to miss his first 2 cards, and it's actually going to be extremely costly for him because he's not even going to be able to pick up the kill here. Not this round, but the following round. This round will allow him to do some damage, but we're actually setting up for a late game finish. And as you can see here, we miss our first attack, which is fine, but watch the cute bunny come into play. And there you go. That little fear target right there is what makes him miss his next 2 attacks and pretty much is going to spell the doom for this guy. So
okay, how much did you win for winning this game? How much SLP did you earn for winning this game?
So it ended up being around, I think, $2.20 in USD. So it was like 11 or 12 you know, SLP. But if you take into account, you know, playing 30 games a day, you can see how you can build up a pretty solid continual earning or farming just from you playing. Now, Rand, the interesting thing I want to talk to you about, and the way that I was able to kind of scale up my income so quickly, is they have this mechanism in the game called scholarshiping. And this is when you pretty much lend your Axies out to other people and they can play with them and earn income as well. And you take a small amount of that profit. And that is what has allowed me to kind of scale up so quickly, because we've been able to build out a team of about, 200 scholars. And on average, we're earning about, $200 to $300 a month off of each individual scholar.
So you have 200 people playing this game using your Axies all the time, and you split the revenue with them in some kind of revenue split.
Exactly. So we take about 70%. No, they take about 70%. We only take a small 25% cut, which is extremely below the normal standard for a lot of these other scholarshiping guilds. But to kind of give you a sense, Rand, on the numbers, because I know you're a numbers guy. So I want to let you know, for example, let's say the Loot Squad has 200 scholars, and you times that by, an average rate of about 150 SLP per day, times a 30-day period, you're looking at about 900,000 SLP. Now, where this comes into, the true interesting nature of how the economics play behind this game, if we multiply that by, 0.25 or the 25% that we take, and then convert it into, let's say SLP is at 20 cents right now. So, and maybe I think that's the conservative. I don't know if it's at 25 right now, but we'll say for the sake of this, it's at 20 cents. So we times that by 0.2, and that is $45,000 a month in profit, just for the Loot Squad brand alone after we've paid out.
How do you know that the 200 players that you've got are actually going to make money? I mean, they could lose this. They could lose every game, right?
Yeah, they could potentially lose every game, but at the Loot Squad, we do a wonderful job. And we're also partnered with YGG, who's like the biggest player in the space. We build out very, very solid, high meta, high achieving teams. And we also connect all of our scholars with scholar managers in their area. That way they can learn, be cultivated in the game. And I create a ton of YouTube content to help all of our scholars grow. We've actually had scholars reach, higher levels in the game, 2,000 MMR, earning a ton more than just 150 SLP. We have scholars that earn all the way up to like 220, 230, and it's changing lives across the world. I have scholars that are, being able to pay for food, being able to pay for, rent and monthly expensive, buying, different things for, for their families. And we've even had scholars host their own giveaways of SLP to give back, to the Axie community.
So one way to make money is I can buy Axie Infinity token. We know that, and if you believe it, there's going to be uptake in the game. There's great tokenomics behind the Axie Infinity token.
Exactly.
The next thing that I can do is I can actually buy Axies.
Yep.
And I can rent them out to players who want to play, right?
Exactly.
And so an Axie today, I saw Axies today were about $300, $200. You can buy any one of these Axies for $200, $225, whatever the number is. And you can either then play and earn SLP yourself, or you can rent it out to other players and let them play. You never give them your private keys, so you own the Axie. And they
exactly.
Can't steal it from you. They can play, and you can charge them a certain amount per day to play, right?
Exactly. And the beauty behind it is, they're playing with these assets. They're earning, so much more money. I think, we have a ton of scholars in the Philippines, and shout out to the Philippines, but they're earning 5-6 times their, normal minimum wage just from playing as a scholar for the Loot Squad. And the beauty in it is we've also we help them graduate. So the idea behind scholarshiping is once they've earned enough money to buy their own team, they graduate the program, they refer one of their friends, family, so that they can also achieve, a higher level of financial stability. And then that scholar can go on and start their own program, become a scholar manager for the Loot Squad, which involves actually earning a percentage of every scholar that they manage.
So while governments in the third world are trying to look for factory jobs and stuff like that, you guys are saying all you need is an internet connection, and they can play with these Axies, and they can earn more money than they would make in a factory job. If you're talking about 200 SLP per day per person, you're talking about $50 a day.
Yeah.
And you're talking about them keeping 75% of it. So call it $35. And you're talking about $35 times 20 days. Let's just assume that they work 20 days. And I know they don't. I know they work 30 days, but let's say 20 days. That's $700 a month. In the Philippines, the average wage is about $150 a month for people who are paid.
Wow.
So talking about not only can they make money, but they can make huge money in third world economies just because they've got internet and because they can buy, because they can play Axie Infinity. It's absolutely, absolutely mind-boggling.
Yeah, and you know, we have Axie scholars in other areas. We have Malaysian scholars. We have scholars in South America. I'm in talks to potentially get some things going in Africa as well. So we want to bring this, generational wealth concept of empowering people in developing nations as far across the globe as we can possibly take it. And I think Axie Infinity is going to be bridging that gap and be the first of many NFT games that takes this play to earn concept and this tokenomics behind allowing people to be empowered through video gaming and getting them from working sweatshop jobs and things of that nature.
Okay, I get it. The only problem I have is that you need to know what's going on here. And we need to teach the crypto banter community how to make money off Axie. And then we need to keep them updated with other games. So we need a coach. We need you, bro. We need you to come here daily, once a week, once every second day, and to teach the banter community how to make money playing NFT games. What do you say?
I would love that. I think that this is the future of NFTs and just gaming as a whole. And guys, Crypto Banter is like the place to be if you want to learn anything about not only the market and what the market's doing, but now NFTs and NFT gaming and how this is going to shape the future of perfect investment decisions and deciding how and where you want to place your money, but also your time. I'm a gamer at heart, and I've spent thousands of hours playing video games, and I've never made a single dime just from playing the game. And to now be able to find something like Axie Infinity and being able to play it and earn money, I think this is a concept that everyone can leverage. And Rand, I don't know if we have time, but there was someone who said in the chat about, have we missed the Axie boat? Do you mind if I touch on that really quick?
Yeah, definitely. Let's do it. We have about 2 minutes. Let's shoot.
Cool. So guys, to kind of take into a sense, have we missed the Axie boat? If you think about where things are, we are extremely small scale right now. Look at some of the top games like your Fortnite, your Minecraft, some of the games that don't offer play to earn models. They have hundreds of millions of players. I think right now Axie Infinity has about 400 or 450,000 daily active users. So we are a small blimp of what we will be in the future and what the Axie world and what other NFT games could look like. And as the users scale up, the market cap for games like this scales up, the amount of money coming into the game scales up. And if you look at a place like America, who hasn't even come into grips with the concept of NFT gaming and play to earn, imagine when consumer America and all these other big nations decide, hey, I don't just want to play to earn, I want to play because I actually love the game. People spend millions, billions of dollars in games like Pokemon. And imagine that income coming into the Axie community, that amount of revenue, and what it could do not only for all of us in the Crypto Banter community, but changing the lives around the world. So you have to understand this is extremely small scale right now.
I think we've just started, and this is something huge. I mean, there are risks. There also are risks with Axie Infinity. I mean, the one risk that everyone talks about is on the day when there's no new users or the new user rate slows and there's just too many Axies, and then the Axies lose value. And when the Axies lose value, you don't need any more SLP because you don't want to breed Axies anymore. But the developers are working it out, and we've got to remember that we're in the beginning of a small proof of concept. Yeah. And I think that Axie Infinity is the first, but I think that it's certainly not going to be the biggest forever. It's the same as in the old days when there was a browser. It was, AOL was the biggest browser and Yahoo. And today, those guys are nowhere near this. So I think that that's what's going to happen. Bryce, we're going to take this discussion offline because I need you back here regularly. Educating the crypto banter community, which is the most loyal community in the world, and the fastest growing community out there. And we need to create a separate stream about how to make money, and we'll call the stream In the Game. And that's what it's going to be called. It's called In the Game, and it's how to make money in video games. What do you say?
I would love it. Let's take it offline. Let's talk more about it, and let's keep taking Crypto Banter to the moon.
Amazing. My brother, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
So guys, bull market, bear market, you can make money in crypto. You just need to know where to look. It's not looking pretty out there, but we keep building and we keep looking for ways to make money. And soon, this too shall pass. So I will see you guys again tomorrow. Same time, same place, 10 a.m. EST. Until then, trade well, my friends.
Crypto Banter is a social podcast for entertainment purposes only. All opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers should not be construed as financial advice. Views expressed by guests and hosts do not reflect the views of the station. Listeners are encouraged to do their own research.